Hello all, welcome to Advanced Engineering Physics, Quantum Computing, third part. This is Dr. S.P.P., Assistant Professor in Physics, Department of H&S, MLR Institute of Technology. So in this video lecture, we are going to see about Bloch-Spear and concept of quantum computer. So in the previous video lectures, we have already learned about qubits and also learned about the linear algebra of the how to get into the quantum what we can say quantum computers or quantum computing. So going into details of the quantum computing, so today we are going to see about Bloch-Spear. So this Bloch-Spear is a geometric representation of a qubit. So this is a geometric representation used in quantum mechanics to visualize the state of a single qubit or two-level quantum systems. Okay, we'll go in for further units or further video lectures. We will go about the classification of qubits into single-level qubit system, two-level qubit system, and all. So the Bloch-Spear is a geometric representation. Just where sphere means this is the spherical shape. This is the shape of a sphere, the general shape of a sphere we will use like that. So here we are going to have a representation of a qubit in the form of a sphere. Okay, while the classical bits has only zeros and ones, qubit can exist in the superposition of the both. Since qubit exists in the superposition of the both, we are taking the circular notation for the representation of a qubit. Okay, and the Bloch-Spear provides a map of every possible state it can occupy. Okay, what is its importance? It maps any pure qubit state to point a surface of the unit sphere in a three-dimensional real space. It provides physical intuition for abstract quantum states, a virtual understanding of superposition, phase, and quantum gates. Okay, so physical intuition for abstract quantum state means there are quantum states which are superimposed on one another. So we have only two states. They generally will represent with zeros and ones, which are machine friendly or machine learning language, which we call as. And the in a supercomputer, what we'll see, we'll use these zeros and ones and superposition of zeros and ones. Okay, so this will be represented by Bloch-Spear for us easy understanding and for mathematical purpose. Okay, a visual understanding of superposition, phase, and quantum gates. It will give a bridge between quantum mechanics and linear algebra. Yes, in the previous video lecture, we have already learned about linear algebra for quantum mechanics or quantum computing. So how it will be used, what are tensor vectors and so on, right? We have already learned now. So that here, what we will do, a bridge, it will give the Bloch-Spear will give the bridge between quantum mechanics and linear algebra. Many operations on single qubits that are commonly used in quantum information processing can be neatly described by Bloch's picture. This is the Bloch's picture. Okay, so quantum gates and operations corresponding to rotations of Bloch vector on the sphere, such as Pauli's exclade flipped the state across the equator. So Pauli's exclade, Y-gate, jet gate, and there are so many gates. So that we'll learn in the next lectures. But for the time being, we have already learned about Ket 0 and Ket 1, Bra 0 and Bra 1 in the previous lectures. So what is Ket 0? So Ket 0 is the representation of a north pole and the south pole is represented with Ket 1. Okay, the mixed states lie inside the Bloch ball, which with the wave vector length Ket r is equals to less than or equal to 1. So this is the Bloch-Spear. So here if you just visualize the Bloch-Spear, what it says, Ket 0 is in the north pole position and Ket 1 is in the south pole position. Okay, so what these are all represented, Ket 0 plus I Ket 1 by root 2, Ket 0 plus chi I Ket 1 by root 2, pi by 2 minus pulsar. This is theta, Ket psi is represented, phi, and all represented in the Bloch-Spear. So what does it mean? Let us go in detail with this derivation of a Bloch-Spear. So Ket psi, this is the general expression, Ket psi is equals to cos theta by 2 ket 0 plus e power I phi sin theta by 2 ket 1. This is the general representation. Okay. So next. So the a qubit in general is written as ket psi is equals to alpha ket 0 plus beta ket 1. Okay, alpha ket 0 plus beta ket 1, where alpha, beta and beta are the complex numbers and ket alpha modulus of alpha square plus beta square is always equal to 1. Any pure qubit state can be represented by using two angles, theta polar angle and psi azimuthal angle. Okay, so any two qubit states can be represented with two angles, theta polar angle and phi or psi, whatever it may be, azimuthal angle. So this is the general representation as we have already noted. So ket psi is equals to cos theta by 2 ket 0 plus e power I psi sin theta by 2 ket 1. Okay. So what does it mean? It visualizes complex quantum states in a simple 3D space, showing how quantum gates acts on rotation on the sphere, making it a fundamental tool in quantum computing for understanding and manipulating the qubit states. Okay. So here gates means what? So let us first have the just an idea about gates. So gate means you might have already learned about in your semiconductor physics. So that they are AND gate, OR gate, NOT gate and so on. Here also for a quantum computing also we have gates. Pauli 6 gate, Pauli 5 gate, Pauli Z gate, Hadamard gate, and these are the major gates. Okay. So there are single input, single output gates, two input, two output gates and so on. Okay. So these gates will be represented in a particular block sphere. Okay. So how to represent in a particular block sphere? So there is a small mathematical derivation before going to have the gates. We'll have the mathematical derivation. We'll see the mathematical derivation, and from that mathematical derivation, we come into conclusion that ket 0 existence of all other gates, all other information is in between ket 0 and ket 1. Ket 0 is in the north pole and ket 1 is in the south pole. So all the other information lies within the sphere. So see here. This is the geography of a block sphere and the derivation also. Okay. So see, if you have noticed this one, ket 0 plus ket 1 ket 1 by root 2. Okay. So see here, this is the representation on the x-axis. So we have three axes here, x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. Okay, right? So each one is represented with some numbers or with some what we can say, ket 0 plus ket 1 by root 2, like that. So we'll see about this one. So x plus in the positive quadrant is equals to theta is equals to pi by 2. Theta is the angle. So this is the theta angle. It acts on psi, ket psi. So theta is equals to pi by 2 and phi is equals to 0. The phase angle will be equal to 0 here in this case. So azimuthal angle is equals to 0. So cos pi by 4 ket 0 plus e power I 0 sin pi by 4 ket 1. So e power I 0 means e power 0, that is equals to 1. So where does this equation come? We have already seen the from cos theta by 2 ket psi plus e power I phi I sin theta by 2 ket 1. This is the general equation, and we are going to represent this general equation in terms of by keeping theta as pi by 2. So 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus 1 into e power I 0 is equals to 1 into 1 by root 2 ket 1. 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus 1 by root 2 ket 1. This is represented with plus, okay, ket plus. So finally h ket 0 is equals to 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus 1 by root 2 ket 1. Okay. Now ket x minus in the opposite quadrant around the circle. No, so we'll get as what we can say, x plus x minus y plus y minus, z plus z minus. Okay, so like that we'll have the total configuration of a within the sphere. Total configuration means total gates will be represented, or total quantum systems will be represented within a block sphere here. Okay, so x minus is equals to theta is equals to pi by 2, phi is equals to pi. A phase change will be there, phase change of pi. That means we are so this is the what we can say the sphere. So here we have worked in earlier. Now we are going to work here in this. So obviously, if we work here, we took as phi is equals to 0. If we work here, we took as phi is equals to minus pi, a phase change, right? Okay, cos pi by 4 ket 0 plus e power I pi sin pi by 4 ket 1. So according to the Euler's identity, e power I pi plus 1 is equals to 0, e power I pi is equals to minus 1. This is the Euler's identity. We need to remember the Euler's identity at this junction. Okay, 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus minus 1. This is minus 1. No, the identity is e power I pi is equals to minus 1. 1 by root 2 into ket 1. So 1 by root 2 ket 0 minus 1 by root 2 into ket 1. This is this came as minus ket minus. So h1 h ket 1 is equals to 1 by root 2 ket 0 minus 1 by root 2 ket 1. So if you observe here one thing, on x-axis we got the two results which gives us both ket 0 and ket 1 at one place. So see, by observation you can also have look at carefully. So here h of ket 0 is equals to 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus 1 by root 2 ket 1. So here also h of ket 1 is equals to 1 by root 2 ket 0 minus 1 by root 2 ket 1. Whatever it may be, it is a addition or subtraction, whatever it may be, the there will be superposition of the zeros and ones. So we can observe here the superposition of zeros and ones in this case. Now on y-axis, what happens here on y-axis? Let us consider y-axis situation, y plus. Okay, y plus is equals to theta is equals to pi by 2, phi is equals to pi by 2 in case of y-axis. So cos pi by 4 ket 0 plus e power I pi by 2 sin pi by 4 ket 1. So 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus I 1 by root 2 ket 1. Okay, so see the Euler's identity. E power I pi by 2 is equals to cos pi by 2 plus I sin pi by 2, that is equals to 0 plus I into 1, that is equals to I. This is the Euler identity. So, so that we got as I over here. Okay, e power I pi by 2 as I over here. So 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus I by root 2 ket 1. This is the case of y-axis, positive y-axis. Now negative y-axis. So y minus is equals to theta is equals to pi by 2, phi is equals to 3 pi by 2. Okay, phi will be 3 pi by 2 in the other case. So cos pi by 4 ket 0 plus e power I into 3 pi by 2 sin pi by 4 ket 1. So 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus minus I into 1 by root 2 ket 1. So minus I, how it came? E power from Euler's identity itself, e power I into pi by 2, 3 pi by 2 gives cos 3 pi by 2 plus I sin 3 pi by 2. Cos 3 pi by 2 is 0, I sin 3 pi by 2 is minus 1. So this is equals to minus I. Okay, so 1 by root 2 ket 0 minus I by root 2 ket 1. So you can observe the similarity over here. What is the similarity? 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus I by root 2 ket 1 in on a y-axis. Here y minus 1 by root 2 ket 0 minus 1 by root 2 ket 1. So see here also the same thing is over here. H of ket 0 is equals to 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus 1 by root 2 ket 1, and h of ket 1 is equals to 1 by root 2 ket 0 minus 1 by root 2 ket 1. So the same is seen over here on y-axis also. Now coming to the z-axis, what happened? Z-axis we have ket 0 and ket 1. So how to get the ket 0 and ket 1? So z-axis z plus theta is equals to 0 and phi is equals to 0. Okay, so theta starts here, theta is equals to 0, and phi is also, there is no change in the phase angle, so phi is equals to 0. So cos 0 by 2 into ket 0 plus e power I theta I 0 sin 0 by 2 ket 1. So cos 0 into ket 0, 1 into e power I 0 is 1, as we have seen, 1 into sin 0 ket 1. So sin 0 is 0, cos 0 is 1. So cos 0 ket 0, 1 into ket 0 plus 0 into ket 1. So 0 into ket 1 obviously 0. So the remaining is ket 0 itself. Okay. So this is ket 0 that we have obtained as north pole. Okay. So from the 4 of identities, from the 6 of identities, x plus x minus, y plus y minus, z plus z minus. From the 6 of identities, what is the maximum value that we have obtained here? The maximum is equals to psi is equals to 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus 1 by root 2 ket 1. Here the probability of measuring ket 0 is equals to modulus of a square is equals to a into a. That is 1 by root 2 whole square, that is equals to 1 by 2. Similarly, the probability of measuring 1 by 2, we know that psi is equals to ket psi is equals to 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus 1 by root 2 ket 1. 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus e power I theta by root 2 into ket 1. We can also rewrite like that. Okay. Next, this is the representation of a block sphere. So hope you understand clearly. So here once again see the diagram. Ket 0 plus I ket 1 by root 2, ket 0 plus I ket 1 by root 2. This is 1, this is 1. Ket 0, ket 1. Just they have represented with 4 only, but we got as 6. Okay. So of the 6, 1 by root 2 ket 0 plus 1 by root 2 ket 1 is the having highest value, and the remaining follows. This is about the block sphere. Now coming to the concept of quantum computer. Yes, we are just slowly moving towards the quantum computer. What is a quantum computer? Quantum computing is the use of quantum mechanical phenomena such as superposition, interaction of particles to perform computation. Okay. So interaction, superposition and interaction of the particles. Superposition means when already we have listened in the previous in our previous video. Superposition means when a wave superimposes, means when a wave of crust imposes on crust and trough imposes on trough, then that is called as superposition. Here also the qubits, what they will do, they are going to superimpose on one another to form the fastest computation process. Okay. So quantum computing is the use of quantum mechanical phenomena such as superposition, interaction of particles to perform computation. Computers that perform quantum computations are known as quantum computers. Okay. They are able to solve some of the quantum computational problems such as integer functionalization faster than the classical computers. Quantum computing and quantum information theory are concerned with the transmission and process of the quantum state and their interaction. Okay. So how this quantum computing arises? Quantum computing and quantum information theory are concerned with the transmission and processing of the quantum states and their interactions. So there are several models of quantum computing, including quantum circuit model that uses qubits. Okay, quantum circuit model. Just remember this one, quantum circuit model. Computation is performed by manipulating qubits with quantum logic gates. Unlike a classical bit, a quantum bit can exist in a continuum of states. Okay. So continuum of states, from the first onwards we are saying that it is unlike of classical bit. Thus, quantum computer are needed to solve quickly certain problems within a no time compared to the classical computer. So, this is the quantum supremacy. Supremacy means authority or higher authority on classical. So, here also quantum supremacy means it has since it has the superposition of the states, it will always be in the on state itself. That means it will always generate some energy. So, advantages of quantum computing. A quantum computer is significantly faster than the non-classical computer. Entanglement is the characteristic property or behavior of particles, photons or electrons in the quantum computing. Classical information can be copied freely but can be transmitted forward in time to the receiver in order to sender's point of view, but entanglement cannot be copied. it can connect between any 2 points in space and time. So what is entanglement? We'll see in the next classes. So we have already seen in the previous slide entanglement. Entanglement gives us without connection we can specify the things. Okay, without having any physical contact we can specify the things. That is called as entanglement. So the classical information can be copied freely but cannot be transmitted forward in time to receiver in the sender's point of view. Okay, so conventional data processing operations destroy entanglement, but quantum operations cannot create it and preserve it and speed up the certain computations. Atoms change every state much faster than the faster computer processes. What is the advantages? Atom changes the energy states much faster than the classical computers. A qubit allows to carry out multiple calculations simultaneously, which results in the exponential speed up. So classical computer needs exponentially more time or memory to match the power of the quantum computer. Okay, so a single qubit cannot store more information than the thousands of transistors in the classical computer. Okay, so what is the use of quantum computing? A single qubit could store more information than thousands of transistors in the classical computer. In the classical computer, we usually use the transistors to store the these data. So with the help of transistors, the classical computers are running more effectively and efficiently. But what's the use of qubit? So a single qubit could store more information than the thousands of transistors in a classical computer. Okay. So in this video lecture, you have learned about Bloch-Spear and concept of quantum computer. In the next video lectures, you are going to learn about gates. Okay, gates, and also you are going to learn about the qubits. First of all, what are the differences between what is a classical bit, what is a qubit, the differences between classical bit and qubit, and also you are going to learn about how many qubits are there and their purpose. Okay. So, thank you.